What's up, everyone? Welcome back to C&D Sports. We have a little bit of a rare video here. We've got soccer content for you today as the World Cup begins on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Qatar is going to kick off against Ecuador. Very excited for the World Cup to take place. As the resident soccer guy here at C&D Sports, I'm going to be running through my takes of the group stage, my predictions for the knockout stage, and of course, bringing you my prediction of who I think is going to come home with the most coveted trophy in sports, my World Cup winner this year. So we're going to run through all of that. I'm going to give you some predictions, some takes. So a lot to cover here. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it.
Right into it. Group A, you have the Netherlands coming out on top, followed by Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar. How do you see that playing out in specifics?
Yeah, I think it's pretty open and shut that the Netherlands are the strongest team here. I think Dutch football has a sort of stability to it again that we saw in 2010 when they made the World Cup finals and lost to Spain. I really like their back line. It's a solid back line with Virgil van Dijk, Matthias de Ligt, Nathan Ake, Denzel Dumfries, and Denzel Dumfries, and then Blind on the wings. I really like them distributing into the middle for attacking options like Memphis Depay, Cody Gakpo, Steven Bergwijn. And you can't discount the fact that they're on a 15 match unbeaten streak right now. One of the teams in the best form coming into this tournament right now. And then guys like Cody Gakpo and Xavi Simons really show the changing of the guard of kind of the young talent coming into this transitional talent. It's reminiscent of the years of Van Persie, Wesley Schneider, Rafael van der Vaart. Very exciting. I think the Netherlands will have no issues here. Maybe there's a draw in there, but I think 7, even 9 points is very accomplishable for this team in the group stage. And then Senegal finishing second here. Now, obviously, the news came out a few days ago that Sadio Mane, he was named to the squad, but Sadio Mane is going to be out for the tournament here. That's a huge blow. He is the center of Senegalese football. But despite the fact that he's out, this is still a force. This is still the strongest team in African football with a Koulibaly-led backline there. I'm excited to watch that attacking and midfield options of Ismail Assar, Idrissa Gueye, Nampalys Mendy, Jiju up front there. They're a very exciting squad, very fast-paced squad. I think they've lost their longevity in the tournament without Mane. They could probably make some noise as a dark horse if he's there because he is that good. He is a Ballon d'Or candidate. But their initial group stage chances are certainly still there, even though they don't have that longevity towards the knockout stage. But a team that could have potential to knock them off if the Mane injury does prove to be as costly as some may think it is Ecuador. They held their own in South American qualifying, knocking off the likes of Colombia, Peru, Chile. And I really like that exciting Brighton duo that they have of Estupiñán and Caicedo. So they certainly have potential to knock off a Mane-less Senegal and finish second, but I do think Senegal as a unit is a little more experienced and a little stronger when it comes to big competitions like this. So I'm going to go with Senegal, even if they don't have Mane. And Qatar, obviously, they're the hosts. I mean, I think they'll be lucky if they can find a way to score here. But I don't see much for Qatar, so we're not really going to go into that. They finish at the bottom.
All right, we'll move on over to Group B. You have England coming out on top, followed by Wales, the US, and Iran.
Yeah, I think this one, despite the fact that as an England supporter, obviously being a Canadian, I'm supporting Canada here, but the big gap in Canada, I've never seen Canada in a World Cup, never seen them in a major tournament like this. So obviously when World Cups come around, I can't watch Northern Ireland. So I got to support someone. So I've supported England for my whole life. So I really follow this English team. And despite the fact that I have my qualms with Gareth Southgate and the squad that he picked, I do think they're clearly the best team in this group. I think it starts right at the back with Jordan Pickford. He's in the best form of his life, and that's the form that he was in to get them to the Euro finals in 2021. I think he was in great form there, and he's only gotten better. I'm not sold on their back line there. I think there is potential in a group like this to give up a decent amount of goals because despite the fact that they're so much better than these three other teams in their group, these three other teams um, do have potential to defeat you on the attacking end. So I don't think Harry Maguire should be in that squad. I don't really care what people say. The fact that he's been so good with when it comes to England soccer and in Gareth Southgate's squad, he's not in form right now. He's not playing at Man United right now. He's terrible. I don't know why people are defending him. I'm going to come out and say it. He shouldn't be there anyways, but he is going to be in the middle when that first team sheet comes out. He's going to be in the middle, centering that back three. So I have issues with that. Kyle Walker, I don't think is in game form right now after undergoing groin surgery a month ago. It was certainly a surprise to see him on this squad list. So I'm not sold on there. And I think their midfield depth is problematic. Obviously, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham are strong guys up the middle there. But Calvin Phillips, again, he's barely played this year. He's not in game form right now, coming off of a lengthy injury himself. He shouldn't be there. Jordan Henderson's not in form right now, not having a great season for Liverpool. But all in all, they may not get the 9 points, but I don't think they should lose any of these three games. I think probably 5 points would be the lowest I'd give them, but this is a group that 5 points, even though it might not differentiate you from, first to fourth very much, I think they will get out on top because I do think they're very talented. Anytime you can throw out guys like Harry Kane, Phil Foden, you do feel pretty confident. You do feel pretty confident with scoring goals and winning games. And then I have Wales second, which might not be popular. I've seen a lot of people put the US second. I'm not sold on the US. And I like Wales better because Gareth Bale, out of both of these squads that I think are capable, the three squads I think are all capable of finishing second place here between Wales, the US, and Iran. I think Gareth Bale is obviously the best player out of those three squads there. He offers that consistency up the middle. And I like their younger attacking talent, I should say, with Dan James, Brennan Johnson, Nico Williams. I think they can beat you in a lot of different ways. I think Wales can really, against good teams like England, they can really beat you off the counterattack. But I think they're a team that's sure of themselves and they play compared to the US and Iran. They've played against better teams in qualifying. The European qualifying stages offers up better opponents. So they're not going to be taken aback by teams like the USA, like teams like Iran. They are someone that can take care of business. And it's because they have that experience playing against better teams in a better qualifying region in Europe. And I think Ben Davies is another guy that's not talked about enough. He is an anchor on the back line, playing for Spurs, playing very well for Spurs. One of Antonio Conte's main guys. So for Wales, it should be no different. He's going to be relied upon in the back. I really like this Welsh team. I think they're a cohesive unit, which I don't think the US is. And that's why I have the US finishing third, despite the fact that I think this is a good starting point for the US. If you remember, they missed out on the 2018 World Cup, didn't go at all. I think the squad has changed over. It's gotten a lot younger with Weston McKennie, obviously their leader and captain, Christian Pulisic, Musa, Aronson, Tyler Adams, Josh Sargent, Serginho Dest. All of these guys are good young talent for a changing of the guard here. I just think they have skeptical coaching tactics, and I was not sold on their qualification stage, obviously finishing third in CONCACAF, only knocking out Costa Rica from that automatic World Cup promotion bid. Just by goal differential there. They didn't sell me. They looked a little out of sorts in certain games. So I think they have the potential to be overmatched. But this is a team that I don't think it's outrageous that a lot of people are picking them to finish second. They very well could if Wales comes out flat-footed. But I'm not sold on this US team. And I think it's because of that skeptical coaching tactics and then the previous track record within the past 2 years or so. And then in terms of Iran, I like their qualification. I thought they had a strong qualification when it came to the Asian qualification phase there. But similar to the other two teams that are vying for second place here, they do have weaker qualifying competition. It's not as strong. It's probably I'd probably put it at par with CONCACAF, maybe a little less. But I don't think I don't think it's nearly as strong as European qualifying competition there, which I think Wales has those caps under their belt right now. That I think they feel pretty good about their chances when it comes to playing similar competitors in other regions to them.
Okay, moving on to Group C, you have Argentina coming in on top, followed by Poland, Mexico, and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think Argentina is clearly the front runner in this group. They're deep and talented on all facets of the pitch here. And I think they have a great mix of the old and new guard. You know, the old guard featuring Messi, Di Maria, and then you have the Martinez duo, Alexis McAllister as kind of the new guard coming in to Argentine football here. It's likely Messi's last World Cup, so this will be a big showing for them. Obviously, Messi's Messi. It doesn't matter how old he gets, he's going to show up fresh off of a Copa America title for him there. So he's looking to add some more hardware. And I think in this group, he'll be set up to do so. I think they are clearly better than the other three teams in this group. And then we get to the real debate, Poland or Mexico. I went with Poland, despite the fact that they haven't been great in big tournaments. I think they do have that big name flair, obviously led by Robert Lewandowski, but Jan Bednarik, Malik, Matty Cash. I think these are all guys that have that they're well regarded when it comes to club football, that I do think that gives them the edge over Mexico, who I don't think qualify like the US. I don't think they handled their CONCACAF qualifying very well. I think they had the expectation that they were going to win CONCACAF qualifying, and make it there on top. And they didn't. Canada beat them out to that. But they do have Mexico does have interesting pieces that could see them finish second, like Edson Alvarez, like Raul Jimenez. Obviously, some big name flair there that I do think if Mexico finishes second, I wouldn't be surprised, and it would probably be because Poland has the potential to choke when it matters most. And then Saudi Arabia again. I can't see a situation. Maybe they pick up a draw somewhere, but not likely there. They'll probably end up losing all three, so not much to talk about there in fourth place.
Then we move on to Group D. You have Denmark topping it off with France, Tunisia, and Australia following behind.
Yeah. And this is probably my first true bold take here, moving the reigning champions down to second in their group. And I just really like Denmark as a cohesive unit that really works. All 11 guys on the pitch really work together. I think Denmark is at the height of their potential right now, obviously coming off of a semifinals appearance in the 2020 Euros. I really like that back line. I think it's going to be really tough for opposing attacks to break them down with Andreas Christensen, Joachim Andersen, Simon Kjær, Rasmus Christensen. I really like a back line that's made up of those four guys. And then the midfield with Christian Eriksen, Pierre-Emil Højbjerg, Christian Norgard, Thomas Delaney. On attack, you've got Mikkel Damsgaard, Martin Brathwaite, some big name talent that I think flies under the radar. And I have a lot of confidence in how Denmark plays and how they're managed and just overall how they've performed of recent. And this isn't a team that, historically speaking, this is a team that has had success in the past. They do have a Euro to their name, albeit that was back in the 90s. But this is a team they have seen success before, and I think this is probably the best Denmark team that historically we've ever seen. And I think they fare well in a pretty weak group outside of France. But I do think, despite the fact France doesn't finish first, I do think they will finish second. I do think it's going to be one of those drop-offs that we see from a lot of reigning champions. The next World Cup 4 years down the road, they sometimes come out flat. We saw it with Germany in 2018. We've seen it with France we saw it in France last year. Even after they won the World Cup in the Euro tournament, when came around in 2021, they were knocked out by Switzerland pretty early in the knockout stage here. I do think France is susceptible to, as they're starting to get older. Obviously, guys like Pogba and Conte aren't there. So that midfield looks a bit different, very talented with guys like Camavinga and Tchouaméni, but obviously still very young and inexperienced. They are certainly capable of finishing first when you've got names like Kylian Mbappe and the reigning Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema. Um, they are capable of finishing first, but I just like the way that Denmark plays as a unit as a whole. And I think they'll come out on top. And then I have Tunisia and Australia. You can interchange those two. I like Tunisia's the qualifying experience. I think Africa's a lot. I think Africa's a more challenging region to qualify out of, as opposed to Australia coming out of that Asian division there. And I think Tunisia just has just some stronger names. Not much to break down there. I could see that going either way. It's very much 1-2 Denmark, France, whichever order you want to put that in. I go Denmark on top though.
All right, moving on to Group E, you have Spain coming in on top, then Germany, Japan, and Costa Rica.
This would be what I consider the group of death. If I had, maybe not. You could make the argument, obviously, when you have Spain and Germany topping this group, those are two global powerhouses, two former World Cup champions there. I have Spain coming out on top here. I think Spain and Germany are very similar to where they're at in terms of the makeup of their teams. I think it's a lot of young talent, but I think Spain's young talent is a lot more impactful at the moment. When it comes to guys like Pedri, Ferran Torres, and Gavi, I think they are. I just think they're at that point where they can make more of an impact on the world stage than I think Germany's youngsters can. I really like Spain's experienced back line. I think that's going to be big when you have to play against a high flying German team. And again, Germany finishing second. I think it's just a little less flair in their young stars. But I'm excited to see Nico Schlotterbeck, Musiala, Makoko at 17 years old. That's going to be exciting to watch a 17-year-old come in, see what he can do for this German squad here. It's always exciting when you see young but very impactful talent like this on the world stage. And then Japan, I think some people have them as a dark horse to maybe come out of this. I can't see it. They are a very sound technical team that can catch a good team on a bad day. I like guys like Kamada, Minamino, Tamayasu, among others. I think they do have that big name flair, but I just don't. When you have to play Spain and Germany for two of those matches, I think they'll certainly take care of business against Costa Rica, but I can't really see them coming away with more than 3 points here. And it's just an unlucky draw. I think in some groups, if you put them in England's group, Japan, I think, could come out of that group. But yeah, it's just a tough draw for them. I think Spain and Germany 1-2. And those are interchangeable. I've seen people put Germany 1, but I'm going to stick with Spain.
All right, and then in Group F, you have Belgium coming in on top, followed by Croatia, Morocco, and Canada.
Probably the group I have the most vested interest in. I'm going to be watching that one closely, given Soccer Canada's in there. I don't think it's going to be a great showing for them. But first time in 36 years being there, something to really get that experience under your belt. And I think that's big for them. But obviously Belgium on top of this group, this is the last hurrah for this squad. They're getting older. They're starting to phase out. This veteran squad is still very talented, but 4 years down the road, I don't know if they're going to be in the same spot. So it's right now, it's win now, or maybe it's not going to happen again. The window is closing. But at the end of the day, in the back, you've got guys like Thibaut Courtois. He's Thibaut Courtois. He's going to be great. He's going to win you more games than he loses you. And I've heard rumors that the back are not rumors. People have speculated that the back line is a little suspect, but I don't really see that. I like guys like Fayez and Meunier as kind of that younger and informed talent, and Alderweireld and Vertonghen, I think, add that experience to the back. It's not the strongest back line, but I don't mind it. I don't think it's as suspect as people think. And then when you have Kevin De Bruyne leading the attack, that's always a plus. One of the best footballers in the world right now. And then you Trossard to Ketelaere, Tielemans, Onana, Castagna, Lukaku, who won't be there for the group stage, but a smart move for them to bring him for the knockout stage, to bring that scoring threat when it matters most and give them that attack that no one saw in the group stage. That's what I think gives Belgium an edge. I think it'll be a pretty easy win. Belgium could very well come out with 9 points here. That's kind of what I expect from them to win all three of them. Maybe a draw against Croatia there. But yeah, I think 7 points at the lowest is where I see this team. And then Croatia. This is also the last hurrah for the squad. We can't forget that this team kind of defied all the odds and they made the finals in 2018, losing to France. This is Luka Modric's last go. This is still a talented squad that I still think works well as a unit here. I do think they'll be fine when it comes to Morocco and Canada kind of in the wings behind them. I do think they'll finish second pretty comfortably. Morocco, I have over Canada. I could see both of these teams coming out with a draw against each other to get their only points. If I had to pick between Morocco and Canada, I think Morocco is just that little bit stronger. I think I think they're just a little more experienced when it comes to the world stage here. And they've got some exciting names to watch, like Ashraf Hakimi, Agourd, Mazraoui, Hakeem Ziyech, Roman Saiz. I really like the experience and world talent that this team has. That's why I have them finishing over Canada. And then despite my strong support for Canada, I do have them finishing last in this group. I think Morocco just has that little more of that world stage experience there. But despite the inexperienced roster here, I think this will be a good trial run for them for 2026. They do have some exciting players to watch that I think they'll fare better than their last World Cup appearance, and that I do think that they'll score with guys like Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies leading the attack. Steven Eustáquio, he looks in great form. He's been great for Porto this year. And Kyle Larin, obviously, the all-time Canadian goals leader there, always finds a way to get those grittier goals in the box there. I do think that Canada will have something to hang their hats on here. I just don't think it'll be advancing to the round of 16.
Okay, and then we move on to Group G. Brazil, who you have coming in on top, followed by Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
And this is probably the competition for Group E for the group of death. This is a very strong group. I do think Brazil handily finishes on top, and that's no disrespect to Serbia or Switzerland, who I think are capable of making the knockout stage in this group. Brazil they're the tournament favorites amongst a lot of predictors here. I think they're the most complete team. I think that obviously they have the best keeper in the world in Alisson, a back line of Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, Eder Militao, a midfield of Fabinho, Bruno Guimaraes, Casemiro. And I think they have the best all-around attack with Neymar, Antony, Gabriel Jesus, Vinny Jr., Gabriel Martinelli, Rafinha. The names just go on. That this is a very, very talented squad that, again, no one's going to take lightly, and I don't think it matters. I think this is, again, the most complete squad. I think they will dominate. They would have dominated whatever group they were in, and even though this is a hard group, I don't think they'll have an issue. I think it's hard because Brazil's in the group. And then Serbia in second here. A lot of people have Switzerland. I'm going to opt for Serbia because they finished on top of their Euro qualifying group ahead of Portugal for a reason. I think that their attack is severely underrated, needs to be recognized a lot more with Milinkovic, Savic, Mitrovic, Kostic, Jovic, Vlahovic, Tadic. These are all guys that can make an impact and put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what you have to do, especially when you're a team that has lower expectations like Serbia if you do want to move on. And I think they have that potential to do that. I'm really excited to watch Filip Kostic, put it in the wings, put it through the wings for guys like Mitrovic and Vlahovic. I'm very excited to watch Serbia play, and I think Serbia is a dark horse to do some damage, even in the knockout stage too, but we'll get to that later. Switzerland, I do think that they are capable of finishing second. I do like that center back duo of Akanji and Schär. The midfield and attack, they're solid. A bit of experience, a bit of the new guard coming in. Briel Mbolo, Xherdan Shaqiri, Granit Xhaka, Dennis Zakaria, and so on. They certainly have the firepower to come out of this group, but I like Serbia's attack a little bit more. I think they'll be a little bit more. Serbia's attack, I think, is just better, and that's why I have them finishing second. And no disrespect to Cameroon, I don't think this is the Cameroon team that it once was. In the past few decades, I do think that they are clearly the fourth best team in this group, and they'll finish as so.
Then wrapping up the group stage with Group H, you have Uruguay coming in on top, followed by Portugal, Ghana, and South Korea.
Yeah, I have Uruguay on top. A lot of people have Portugal finishing on top. I like Uruguay's solid mix of young talent like Valverde and Nunez with that veteran talent coming in like Edinson Cavani and Luis Suarez, who have been there before. I think they really made up for their poor qualifying start in the second half of their qualifying stage out of South America, but they did show some vulnerabilities there. They did show that teams like Ecuador can play on their level, which, when you think of South America, obviously the top two teams are Brazil and Argentina, but Uruguay is usually right there in third. Even though that's how it's finished, it was a distant third. So I do think there's some vulnerabilities that do hold this team back, but there's also vulnerabilities that hold Portugal back too, and that's why I don't have the 2016 Euro Championship winners finishing on top of this group. Cristiano Ronaldo could continue to be their greatest strength, but he also could be their biggest liability. A lot of issues off the pitch right now. Obviously, his unsanctioned interview with Piers Morgan about how disgruntled he is with Man United. He's not coming in with the best reputation right now, and I think that could cause for some distractions in the Portuguese locker room here. But at the end of the day, he is Cristiano Ronaldo. You can't doubt his ability. They do have the deepest squad that I've seen in recent years when it comes to Portuguese football here. But you have to remember they have been inconsistent on bigger stages. Sometimes they come out on top, like the Euro Championships in 2016 or their recent Nations League win. But they almost didn't qualify for this World Cup. It came down to kind of a last ditch effort. Obviously, not winning their group, they had to go into additional qualifying phases here. This is a team that can disappoint. So this is probably the group that's most susceptible to the teams that you expect to win or come out of this group into the knockout stage. This is probably the team that has the most chance for one of these teams maybe to be upset here. And I think if that happens, it would be Ghana, because they do have some exciting players to watch, like Thomas Partey, Tariq Lamptey, Amartey, Salisu, and Aki Williams. This Ghana team can't be taken lightly here, but I do think they finished third. And South Korea, despite the fact that Son is one of the best players in the world. Obviously, he's coming in with some injuries right now. I do think that they will finish fourth, but they have potential to move up. This is a group that could be interesting. Some fireworks could go off.
Let's move on to the knockout stage. We'll go rapid fire. Netherlands, Wales.
I'm going to go Netherlands. They're clearly better.
Okay, Argentina, France.
This one's tough. I'm going to opt for Argentina. I think they're a little more complete. I think this French team's a little inexperienced. And again, it's that little bit of a tournament slump there that I think they could see after winning it in 2018.
Okay, Spain, Croatia.
I think it's Spain. Croatia were the runners up in 2018, but Spain is clearly better.
Okay, Brazil, Portugal.
It's the Portuguese battle here, but I think Brazil, obviously, they're a more complete team here. Even though it might be Ronaldo's last World Cup, Brazil's going to put a damper on that there. I think they'll handily win that.
Okay, England and Senegal.
Despite the fact England has some glaring issues, I'm going to go with England there to take care of Senegal.
Okay, Denmark and Poland.
Denmark's a more cohesive unit. I'm going to go Denmark.
Belgium, Germany.
This is probably the toughest one to pick. Two very good teams. I got to opt with Belgium here. I think they're a little more experienced, and I think they're a little more motivated considering this is their last hurrah. I don't think Germany's at that stage yet where they're ready to make another push like they did in 2014 when they won it all. But maybe in 2026, they'll be one of the front runners to win it all.
All right. And Uruguay and Serbia.
This is a dark horse here. I really like Serbia's attacking option here. I think Uruguay does have some vulnerabilities here. I'm going to go with Serbia. There's always one team that makes a special run here. It was Croatia 4 years ago. I think Serbia could be a team that makes a bit of a run here. I'm not going to say to the finals, but a bit of a run here.
All right. And then Netherlands and Argentina.
Argentina looks a little more complete for me. I'm going to go with Argentina there.
Okay, Spain, Brazil.
Brazil's just so complete. I can't pick against Brazil yet, so I'm going to go with Brazil.
Okay, your boys in England or Denmark.
I'm going to go with I don't know if you can consider it an upset in terms of FIFA rankings. It probably is. I'm going to go Denmark here. I think Denmark, this is who England beat out in the semis at the Euro 2020 tournament there, but only just Denmark put up a good fight there. I think Denmark will get the better of them. I think they're just a really good squad that shouldn't be slept on.
Okay, and Belgium, Serbia.
This is where I think it ends for Serbia here. I think Belgium is they're a powerhouse in terms of the midfield and attack. And Thibaut Courtois is gonna do wonders against that Serbian attack there. So I'm gonna go with Belgium there.
Okay, and Argentina, Brazil.
As nice as it would be for Messi to finally get a World Cup, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Brazil is just a more complete and just a top end squad. So I got to go send Brazil to the finals.
Okay, and Denmark, Belgium.
This is a good one. I really want to go with Denmark. I really do, but I gotta go. I gotta go with Belgium. I gotta go with
Okay.
Belgium. I think they'll have that motivation to get there. Not a lot of people picking Belgium. I'm gonna go a little bold.
Okay, and then you have Belgium and Brazil in the finals.
And yeah, I gotta go with Brazil. This is the best Brazilian team I've certainly ever seen in my, I guess I'm only 24 years old, so I haven't seen too many World Cups. But this is the best Brazilian team that I've seen, and this is one of the best teams I've seen enter a World Cup. And I do think it's been 22 years since Brazil's won one. I think they're due for one here. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Brazil over Belgium.
Okay, well, there you have it, FIFA fans. We will be staying in tune with the World Cup. So stick around, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you next time.